Hi, this is Kevin McPartland, Senior Analyst with TABB Group. I'm here with Shawn Melamed, President and Founder of Correlix. Shawn, we've been talking about latency transparency probably ever since the SEC put it in that concept release a year or so ago. What's new in the space of latency transparency and latency monitoring?
Sure. So I think what we've seen in the past year is a significant transformation in the market from initial awareness and individual exchanges. I thought NASDAQ kind of was the first one initially working with us, for example, publishing latency information. And as throughout the last year, we started seeing different exchanges joining our kind of transparent race team network, which really, if we're looking at the end of the year, we're seeing the major US equities and options market part of this network, which created kind of a standard on how do you measure latency. So from a really conceptual thing, back then, I think it translated into the need to have some kind of an objective and apples to apples measurement in front of the customers that would tell them really how latency impacts their trading, and in a way that they can actually make sure that whatever strategy they're trading is not getting impacted by that, and they can actually make sure that it works in the same manner, and whether they work on New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, Direct Edge, and so on.
Now, there's a few different ways to measure latency. Some firms do it different internally. So what, where are we on standards for latency transparency? How is that going to help the market?
Right. So I think today, if we're looking at kind of where the market evolved to, definitely from a technological point of view, the best way to measure latency are in a way that does not interfere with the low latency environment that have been introduced in the industry is through passively listening to the network traffic, usually in a very clear points on the transaction life cycle. Especially if we look at the exchanges, would be right at the door when they receive an order and when they release an acknowledgement back to the customer. So, so both the approach, which is a network-based appliance that actually observes the network, and by doing that does not introduce latency, but rather listens to what's going on, interpret it on the fly, measure the timing of things, that's emerged as kind of the standard. And the second thing is, where do you measure? So the measurement point of just at the door, when I get the order, before it goes through any of my infrastructure, and then just before I release the acknowledgement or the market data back to the customer, that became kind of where you measure things and what do you compare when one exchange says, hey, I'm 200 microseconds presenting your order, and another one says 500 microseconds.
And so Correlix just announced a great new customer in NYSE Euronext. So what does that mean for the rest of your client base and for the market? What advantages does that bring?
Sure. So as part of our race team network, which is really industry-wide network, we offer our customers the ability to monitor their own latency, but also to track their trades as they leave their environment and arrive to one of their counterparties' trading venues. And I think the addition of New York Stock Exchange as this large exchange with all the relevant exchanges underneath join the network means that our customers now can trace their transactions from the moment it's leaving their strategy as it traverses to the exchange, and then they can see what's happening within the exchange to their orders. So they can actually understand the latency breakdown in each step along the way within that exchange. Obviously, New York Stock Exchange joining an already existing network with NASDAQ and Direct Edge now put the majority of the US equities and options markets as part of our network, which means that if you develop today an equities-based strategy and you want to integrate latency information into it, and you want to make sure it's predictable across all these markets, as we know the market is a little bit fragmented, you now have really apples to apples comparison ability to take all that data in and create a predictable strategy.
So it's great. So rather than going from measuring from firewall to firewall, which was the case for a long time, now we really can get into the details and see every single hop on both sides of the communication.
Correct, and of course that's as a whole impacts the way the strategy works. So it doesn't matter if just one step is slow, but you really need to see from the moment you receive information to your strategy till the moment you make a decision, how long that took, and then understand how quickly the exchange handled your order to actually place it on the book.
That's great. Well, the market's come a long way in the last 2 years, and I'm sure it'll move even faster going forward. So congratulations on the new deals. And
thank you very much.
We'll have to keep in touch. Again, this is Kevin McPartland, Senior Analyst with TABB Group, here with Shawn Melamed, President and Founder of Correlix. Thanks for watching.